Yo guys, so I'm 15 years old and I'm gonna yap today. I know you're probably thinking like, what does this 15-year-old know? What has he went through? And how is he in these uncomfortable positions, right? And I've basically been able to leave my hometown and pursue my business, drop out of high school, and just travel where the hell I want. I was literally in Europe 2 months ago, going back this next month, and just want to give you guys a complete breakdown of how I went from like fat anime watching kid just like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and being like all my friends, and now I'm here, right? So crazy, right? I'm not trying to flex here today. So I want to talk to you guys about taking action, because if I never took those steps, I would never be in the position that I was today. But I've gotten a position to where my business is doing $30,000, $40,000 per month, and we have the run rate of about to hit 100K per month next month in January, during the slowest time of the year for the industry that we're in. So we have some great things coming, and I want this as well to be like kind of a selfish video of me looking back in the future. But you might be wondering like where I'm at right now. So I'm in Austin, Texas, in the Domain. So it's like a mall strip with all Gucci, this and that. But that's not the point. The point is I grew up in, I went from school to school basically, and that's how I kind of had everything go. And I was always the new kid, right? And it was very tough for my parents to have stable jobs and this and that. And I was growing up in a 750 square feet apartment. So I wasn't like living the luxury. We're below average income, and I don't want you to feel sad for me, but I just want you to just stay in touch for this video, because this can possibly as well change your life and get you in a situation where you're just like this. I'm 15 years old and I'm doing this. And I don't mean that in a way, because like I know there's so much more that is coming, that it's unbelievable in the way I perceived it in my mind, so I can see it, but as well as like just taking in for a moment, recording this video, because I want this to, at least if it changes one person's life, and it just puts you guys in the right direction, that would have been my whole deal with this, and that my whole message with this, and it would have made me happy with it. So I just hope it changes one of you guys' mind. Obviously, I hope it changes more people's minds, but essentially, when I was talking about when I was fat, I was watching anime, I was on the wrong diet, I was eating broccoli, corn, this and that, and I was just feeling so sorry for myself, because I was always blaming myself of the position that I was put into. But a very, very wise man has told me that you can't change the cards you're dealt. You can only, shuffle it around and build that own kind of path for you. Of course, that's not the exact quote, but you can kind of take the idea with that. Like, you're necessarily born into a way, but it's how you perceive it and change it and take those actionable steps every single day to get you to the point where you want to be at. Because right now, like, I never would have ever thought that I'd be in a position where I wouldn't be with my parents. I'm young, I'm still like a minor, and I'm literally traveling. Like, sometimes I just think for a second, when I'm running my business all day, I'm like, yo, isn't this like, I'm blessed with the opportunity that I have? But let me do a little bit off ranting of that shit, right? You want to hear the real sauce, what actually made me flip the switch, because I really do believe in the why. And if you're able to discover that, wow, you're in for a big one. And like, if you're a lazy person watching this, I want you to just, for a second, take a complete, just put everything aside, actually watch this video, man, because please, I just want you to open your mind and just think for a second. Instead of going on TikTok and Instagram and just brain rotting away, like, please watch this video, all right? So, as I said, I was 13 years old, I was watching anime. I would literally post Instagram stories of me watching anime and be like, what's your favorite anime character, or like your show? That's how cringe, and not maybe because I was young, but as well as like how useless I felt in my life. I was in 2nd grade, having my mom call to the principal's office literally every single week because of how much of a bad kid I was and how lost I was, and it's none of my parents' fault. It's all has to do with just like, they had to get for the money provided, a way of living, and that's kind of what it is these days. Like, if you don't want to retire your parents, I don't know what you're doing. Maybe you were growing up a little bit more fortunate than others, but it should be your mission as a man, because I know 97% of you guys who are watching this, you are a man. Or maybe you're a boy, but you have to become a man because you should be the best person in your bloodline. You should look up to people like Napoleon Hill, Napoleon Bonaparte, Alexander the Great, Sophocles, all these, crazy, intelligent and Greek historians or whatever, philosophers, because they have achieved so much in their lifetime, and they weren't able to live to the age, of course, where we were. And so many people have it in their mind that I'm gonna, put my money in a Roth IRA, 401, whatever. I don't know what the heck the names are called. But do you want to enjoy your life and travel when you're 40 and 50 like everybody else tells you to? Think about it for a second. Like, how miserable would that feel to be like, wow, my most vital years, I'm traveling and I'm trying to have fun with how everything went. And all you had to do was focus in for 3 years. Honestly, you just have to realize that it is not hard to actually get what you want. And when you break that boundary and you break that realm of thinking, that's when you start to just have these quantum leaps just grow like crazy, man. Because it's really, really at the end of the day, you're just thinking to yourself, hey, it's not that, it's 10K a month is so much money. Even charging someone for $3,000 for my services, that's insane. I can't do that stuff. Put the puss act away. Grab your balls, find your balls, go 5 a.m. in the morning and go for a run. Just do something that's hard, because if you do something that's hard, you're gonna show yourself you're capable of doing greater things. So the first thing that gave me that why and gave me, of course you can say it's just that I wanted more, I wanted the finer things, I wanted to help my parents, and I wanted to essentially just have this better, I guess you can say, box, or just a better reality for everyone that was around me, and just as well as just becoming the best man I could have possibly been, right? And that's something I don't want to be dying on my deathbed for. But at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, what was that thing that flipped the switch in me? So I was always going to school with maybe 20, 30 kids. I went from, public school, and then I went into some really, really cheap private school. I was in a basement, and there was 20 kids in my grade, in my entire grade. There was no, maybe I had 3 friends that were good ones, right? And I mean, no shame to you, but we were in 8th grade, right? There was no nothing, there was no out of the ordinary. Everybody was doing the same shit, right? And when I got to 9th grade, I switched to another school, and I realized I was literally, for that year, I was dropshipping the whole time, right? And I made $200K in 3 months. And I was so fat, because I went from fat to skinny on that 8th grade year, 7th grade year. And I went to fat again because I was grinding my business, I wasn't taking care of my health, and I essentially just went to 0 again. And I got my payments hold on Shopify. I had to restart. And a lot of people won't go through that if they don't have their why. Because I was thinking to myself, I'm gonna be a millionaire by December. I'm gonna be a millionaire by October. I'm gonna make $1 million in revenue. So telling yourself that, and then being a man that doesn't fulfill on that is another thing. Of course, I can't just snap my fingers and have $1 million, right? I gotta work for it. So it's God's plan, of course, but at the same time, as I said, actionable steps each day are going to take you to where you want to be. So when I was essentially, I kind of skipped a little bit of the story. I went from fat, and I was I'm gonna put a picture on the screen. I was 5'2", right? I wasn't tall at all. And right now I'm only 5'9", but I'm only 15, so I don't know if that's that bad. But I was extremely fat. You can see my stomach, you can see that. That's why I got these wide hips, maybe I'm making an excuse and I'm coping, but I do have the bone out here, so even if I do a slim in, blah, blah, blah. But I went from fat, and then I realized there's nothing else in my life right now that I can do, because I was still I had a girl voice. I literally closed my first client in online money, talking to somebody with a girl voice. I can pop it up on the screen. I literally had a girl voice, and I closed an SMMA client, an client, right?
No, I'm making
but that wasn't my first business. My first business was, I guess you could say, YouTube stuff. I had a channel. I grew to 12,500 subscribers, and that essentially, got me to 2K in revenue. I made that money, 2K in revenue, or profit, whatever you want to say. When I was like 12 years old, I started that channel when I was 9 years old. And you can even go check it now. Like, I actually posted one of my SMMA videos on there when I was like still girl pitch voice, horrible production quality. I was still in my dark room, like literally when I was like 14 years old. So it's kind of funny to look back at and actually be proud of. But I started at YouTube, then I went into stocks, I turned like 204,000, lost half of it. Then I was like, okay, yeah, that's gambling. There's no actual real value here. And then I went into the agency thing. I did it for a couple months, kind of quit. I didn't get any results. Went into drop shipping. I actually got 2 clients or 3 clients or so. Then I went into drop shipping because I was like, okay, let's just, I got this money syndrome. I'm like, what is it called? Shiny object syndrome. I just went into it, right? And you don't want to get shiny object syndrome because that is literally going to be the death of a lot of entrepreneurs and then they start to get lost. Okay, so definitely don't want to be doing that. And yeah, I just got really fat again. I was literally staying up until 6, 7 a.m. And then I was literally like listening to Andrew Tate, and he was like telling me, yo, if you wanted money bad enough, you would not be sleeping. Okay, and that's kind of like what I just took into my own perception. And I was like, okay. And then I just stopped sleeping, and I would go to get a bagel 6 at 7 a.m. thinking I'm the top G, you know? I'm rolling around, I'm walking, I'm running, and doing my 2 or 3 miles to the bagel corner, bro. And that's actually what it was called. The shop was called Bagel Corner, or Corner Bagel, something like that. And I would get my bagel, and I would put 5 pounds of cream cheese on that. I was bulking, right? I would tell myself I'm bulking, and then I started going down the path of eating Chipotle, and then eating like Sam's leg when he started popping, like the Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and I got really fat. That was my worst point. I was like, bro, I'm fat, I'm white as hell. Like, you might see I'm like white now, but I was white. I was white, bro. I was a piece of paper. And then, yeah, I essentially just started figuring out about this clean food stuff. Like, it was always normal to me to think like, yo, so protein, yeah, cool. Let me start eating more red meat. And I just like my physique started changing so quickly in 3 months. In literally 3 months, I made so much progress. Like now, I made some pretty good progress this past week. Like I can tell the difference because I started eating more eggs, and I also started getting on a program with a mentor. But these past 4 months, I would say I've only progressed a little bit. And that could just be I was focusing more on the business and stuff. But when I was doing that 3 first months of the animal-based diet, I had a crazy transformation. I lost 10 pounds. I combined it with a little bit of intermittent fasting. I didn't eat any processed food, and I just essentially transformed. Like, I can put some pictures on the screen, but it went crazy. Like, people did not recognize me. I got a haircut. I didn't look like a homeless person anymore. I also got a buzz cut after my birthday when I saw that nobody gave a shit about me, and I essentially I went into G mode. That's what I like to call it. I went to G mode. I was insanely just boom, 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 boom. You know, Aikido. You know what I'm saying? So after that happens, I start making this crazy gym transformation. I start working on my agency. Then I leave home June 21st. Mark this on your calendar. No, I'm kidding. But I wrote it down in my journal, and I was like, beginning of my life. I literally dipped. I had like 7 clients, and now I had to pay $4,000, $5,000 a month in Airbnb. Like, that's not that cheap, you know what I'm saying? So I did that. I was going to the gym every single day. You see this gym behind me? I was going to this gym every single day for like a month and a half straight when I was like, making things happen. And I got a mentor during that time frame, and then I scaled to like 5 to 35K per month. While I was just like, literally I dipped, I went from like about 7 clients to like 21 clients in only like a month. Like, it was crazy. In the month of August, we also did like 21 clients. There's so much we've done with paid ads, but now we do cold SMS. We got like 30 clients in 3 weeks, 30 clients in 3 weeks. You heard that right, from a 15-fucking-year-old. Yeah, I'm going a lot off track with this video, but what I'm trying to give you is a base, like a foundation for like how my story kind of